Can I confess something to you? If you had met me 25 or 30 years ago, you probably wouldn't have liked me very much when I got angry. I had a temper. And I don't mean the kind where you just stay mad for days. I mean the kind where you could go from calm to saying something you would regret in a matter of seconds. Now that I look back, I realize something. For years, I thought my problem was anger, but it wasn't. Anger was simply the last stop. See, when I was about 15 or 16 years old, life was a little different back then. Most families I knew only had one TV. And if someone was already watching it, well, you had to wait your turn. So one day I'm sitting in the living room watching one of my shows on TV when my baby brother came inside from outside playing. He wanted to change the channel. And I said, as soon as my show is over, you can watch whatever you want. That seemed fair to me. But he didn't like it. So like some baby brothers do, he went running into my mom's bedroom and told her, they won't let me watch TV. And like some others do for their baby kids, she said, let him watch TV. And I remember trying to explain that I was gonna let him as soon as this show goes off. She said, right now. But I didn't. And it wasn't because I was trying to be disrespectful. I wanted her to understand that I was here first. He just came in from outside making demands. But she didn't want to hear my side of the story. And before I knew it, she was mad. And the conversation wasn't so much of a conversation anymore. She got louder, and I felt my chest getting tight, and I could feel the anger rising up. First, I tried to explain again. When that didn't work, I tried to reason with her again. When that didn't work, I shut down, swallowed my feelings, and just hoped they would go away. They did not. They just got louder inside of me. Then my mom yelled. When she raised her voice, I raised mine right back. The ugly words came flying out of my mouth before I even had a chance to think. And almost as quickly as they came out, I wished I could take them back. I ran into my room so fast and locked that door, and I sat there terrified. I knew I was in trouble. I knew I had crossed the line. I stayed in that room all night. And the next day, I was so scared to go home from school that I ran away. Well, actually, I ran to my daddy's house, but he lived in a whole other city, so that's the same thing. I didn't call. I didn't even tell my dad what had happened. I kind of just showed up at his house like, hey, Daddy. When I look back, I realized it wasn't really about the TV. It wasn't even about the argument. It was about a young girl who desperately wanted to be heard. So for years, I convinced myself that I had a horrible temper. But that's not the whole story. Because nobody wakes up one morning and just decides to become reactive. Most reactions have a history. And as I've gotten older, I realized something. I didn't start with anger. I started with trying to explain. And then I tried to reason. And then I tried to hold everything inside. And when none of those things made me feel heard, anger became the last language I spoke. I didn't know any other way to be heard. And that realization changed some things. So looking back, I think my nervous system shifted into survival mode. Because when people feel unseen, unheard, dismissed, our minds and bodies try to protect us. Some people shut down. Some people cry. Some people become people pleasers, and some people fight. For me, fighting was never the first step. It was the last one, after I felt like I had tried everything else. Now let me be clear. Understanding why I reacted that way is not the same thing as excusing it. I still had to apologize. I still had to accept responsibility for my actions, and I still got in trouble. But growth requires accountability, and accountability doesn't have to come wrapped in shame. Sometimes it comes wrapped in understanding, because when you understand the root, you can finally begin to heal it. Child, there came a time in my life when I got tired. Not tired of other people. I got tired of myself. I got tired of apologizing for words I couldn't take back. Tired for allowing one emotional moment to say more than I ever intended to say. Just tired of being mad. Healing didn't begin when I stopped getting angry. Healing began when I became curious about why I was angry. That curiosity changed some things. I started slowing down. I started breathing before responding. I started giving myself permission to pause. So today, if I get upset, I don't force myself to have a conversation right now. I don't pretend that everything is okay either. I simply say, I need a few minutes. Not to avoid the conversation, but because I want to have that conversation clearly. And I want to say what needs to be said without saying what I will regret later. That pause has protected relationships. That pause has protected my peace. And honestly, that pause has protected me. One of the greatest lessons life has taught me is this. Your emotions, they deserve to be expressed. They just don't have to be expressed immediately. There is strength in taking a breath. There is wisdom in slowing down. There's maturity in realizing that just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to react in that exact moment. If you recognize yourself in the younger version of me, don't stay there. Be compassionate with her. Learn from her. Thank her for getting you this far, and then let the healed version of you take it from here. Because emotional maturity isn't pretending your younger self never existed. It's making sure she no longer has the power to carry the conversations. So today, I'll leave you with this question. The next time conflict finds you, will the younger version of you respond, or will the healed version of you answer? Thank you for spending a little time with me today. Until next Sunday, keep living